I assume most of you by now know what's going on with Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, and it hasn't been too good. Not too long after their playoff loss to the Rams, and let me add, it was an embarrassing playoff loss, Kyler Murray unfollowed all of Arizona Cardinals on his Instagram, and he also deleted a lot of his pictures. At that point in time, nobody knew exactly what was going on, but we could infer that he wasn't happy. It's not every day that you see your starting quarterback, and possibly your franchise quarterback, delete all of his pictures involving the team and also unfollowing everybody else involved with the team. Something fishy was going on, and then all the rumors came out that some people in the organization felt like he was being immature and he wasn't a good leader. They also labeled him as a quote-unquote finger pointer, and you don't hear that term unless you're in kindergarten or elementary school. Kyler felt like the Cardinals, the media, everybody in general was using him as a scapegoat and blaming him for the loss. Was the playoff loss solely on him and it was all his fault? No, I don't think the Cardinals were going to beat the Rams even if he played that good of a game. With that being said, it didn't help that Murray finished the game going 19 for 34, only had a $130 with 0 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and one of those being horrendous. If you watched the game, you know what I'm talking about, where he was about to get sacked in the end zone and he just threw it up. You can make the argument and say if he didn't throw it up, it was going to be a safety. Either way, it was just a bad play. So that is the backstory with everything going on, and it's been utterly ridiculous. Why is it utterly ridiculous, at least to me? Because you have people out there trying to claim that Kyler Murray isn't even a good quarterback. That is just beyond everything I've seen, and it beats it all. I don't know if some of you are having recency bias because his last game was his worst game, but he didn't play bad this year and he played good. Did he struggle at times this year? Yes, but it's the NFL. What quarterback doesn't struggle? I also find it so ironic that the same people hating on him were also the ones that were probably saying he was up for the MVP whenever the Arizona Cardinals were 7-1 or 8-0 to start the season. He threw for nearly 4,000 yards, had 400 yards on the ground with 24 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought it was a joke and people were trolling, but they were being dead serious. There is actually real life people who are claiming Murray's not a good quarterback. I don't even know what to say about that. It's got me speechless. There's nothing to say about it. If you think he's not good, I just can't have a conversation with you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on, hold on. Am I saying he's the best in the game? Am I saying he's top 5? No. All I'm saying is he's good. I've watched football long enough to see and know when a quarterback is good, mediocre, bad, great, or just sorry, and you can tell Murray he can play the game. However, there is new information coming out about Murray, and let's just say he is literally getting exposed. What's good, y'all? I hope you're having a great day. Just real quick before we get into it, if you're new to the channel or you're watching and you're not subscribed, just go down there, hit that subscribe button for me if you enjoy the content. It really helps me out, and it's free. You can always unsubscribe later. I'm not going to BS with you. Whenever you subscribe, it helps the channel, and it also makes me feel better because it lets me know that some people out there, you're enjoying the content. So if you do enjoy and want to see more videos, I'd appreciate if you join our family. If not, that's cool too. And now without further ado, let's get into it. Good old Kyler Murray has found his way into the news day after day, and his situation only gets more fascinating. Before we get into all the juicy stuff and drama going on, let's take a look at this. His stats for the 2021 season, he had nearly 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. Not too bad. He also had 400 rushing yards, but in 2020, he had 4,000 yards again, 26 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. And on the ground, he had 800 rushing yards. So you can make a legit case and say that his 2020 season was better than his most recent one. I say it all the time whenever we talk about stats and numbers on this channel. I don't want you to get too brainwashed with everything you see on paper. Yes, the stats do give you somewhat of perspective, but they don't tell you the entire story. We may disagree on a lot of things in this video, but I'll offer you this. I think we can all agree on the fact that Murray was playing way better in the first half of the season than the second half. In the first 8 to 9 games for the Cardinals, it couldn't get any better, and they were living the dream and looking like the best team in the NFL. Sadly, after that 8 to 9 game stretch, I don't know what happened in the organization, but things went downhill real fast. It got to the point where this didn't even look like a mediocre and average team, it just looked like a bad team. I also think that's what makes the NFL so cool and at least a little better than college football in a lot of people's minds, because teams, they don't always dominate. They can be good for the first 8 to 9 games and then bad the next. Why were they getting worse though? Why was this team losing a lot of games down the stretch? I spoke on this in the recent video about Kyler Murray, and I'm going to touch on it again. More times than not, if a team wins, the quarterback's going to get praised, but when they lose, the quarterback's going to get all the criticism. I'm not saying that's going to happen every time, I'm saying it's going to happen about 80 to 85% of the time. And in this scenario, that's what you're seeing, and that's why Murray isn't happy with the team, and he feels like he's being a scapegoat. Let's not act like the Cardinals didn't have a ton of injuries that depleted the team all throughout the season. I hate to say this, but it's a cold hard truth. I could sit up here for hours and try to find excuses and nitpick as to why the Cardinals, they were losing games down the stretch and they were slowly and gradually getting worse, but it all goes back to Kyler Murray. Is he a great quarterback? No. He's a good quarterback, and maybe that's all he'll ever be, but his biggest problem in his game has nothing to do with anything he can control, and that's his height. I'm not a Kyler fan, I'm a football fan. I like to see good players play and good football teams play. And when they started losing all these games out of nowhere, I was like, man, what's going on? So I started to tune in and pay attention. And one thing I noticed, and let me know in the comment section if you notice this, or maybe something else, is that he struggles to throw over defensive linemen. I wouldn't say it happens a lot, but you do see here and there where defensive linemen, they get in his way and they can bat the ball down almost 2 to 3 times a game. I want you to think about this. Imagine being a 5'10" quarterback and your offensive linemen are 6'3", 6'4", and you also got to throw over defensive linemen who are 6'4" and 6'5". If you think it's not a big deal, you're crazy. Yeah, at the high school level you can get away with it, and even at the college level you can get away with it, but in the NFL it starts to show. If you are a short quarterback, especially in the NFL, you're going to have a lot of problems. Fortunately enough for him, he has God-given talent and ability, so yeah, he can run and scramble, but whenever he has to sit in that pocket, it does get hard at times. I don't think some of you quite understand and realize that Murray isn't just short, he is really short. The dude is only listed at 5'10", so I'm gonna go out here on a limb and say he's more of 5'9" or 5'9.5". Some of you may counter that and say, well, Matt, that's not that short, and maybe to me and you who live a normal life, but when you're talking about NFL players and the quarterback position, that is short. If you want to get even more specific, they actually classify 6 foot and 6'1" as being short in the NFL, and he's 3 to 4 inches below that. Moving on with this video, let's take a look at this tweet. Quote unquote, just heard this on 98.7. During halftimes, Kyler Murray is known to sit at his locker and call his girlfriend or put his earbuds in and isolate himself from the team. If this is true, then it further magnifies a complete failure of the entire organization from top down. Do I think that's a big deal? I don't think it's major, but it's a red flag. It wouldn't be a big deal if the kicker, punter, maybe one offensive lineman, or even a wide receiver did this, but the fact a quarterback's doing it, and this is a rumor, it is concerning. Whether Murray likes it or not, the quarterback is the team leader. You don't get a choice. It's not, oh, I don't want to be it. It doesn't matter. The quarterback is the leader of the team, no questions asked. If you're down by 3 or 10 points at halftime and the team's not playing good, all the other guys on the team are going to look to you and want answers and want you to motivate them and give them a pep talk. Yeah, these are grown men, but they got to have a leader. And you could say the head coach is the leader, but you got to have a team leader within it. I do want to throw in there, like this person said, this is a rumor, but it is interesting. I also happened to stumble across this. One of you sent it to me on Twitter. If you guys ever want to send me something or have news you think would be worthy of a video, send it to me on Twitter or Instagram. I'd appreciate it. This person subtweeted, in 2018, when Texas upset Oklahoma, quarterback Sam Ehlinger approached Kyler Murray to tell him a quote-unquote good game and wish him well. KM refused to speak to Sam and walked away without a word. So Sam told him to take the loss. You know what? It appears he's still struggling to show resilience in the face of adversity. I did happen to watch that game when Texas beat Oklahoma, but I don't remember all of that going on. Maybe it is true. Let me know in the comments section. But hold on. If that wasn't good enough for you, let's take it a step even farther back and talk about what happened at Texas A&M. I guess some people have failed to realize and just maybe don't even know that Kyler Murray didn't start out at Oklahoma. He originally started his career at Texas A&M, and to make a long story short, he didn't get his way and he wasn't the starter, so he up and I'm not going to say he threw a fit, he just entered the transfer portal, and you know how it goes. There was never any clarification as to what happened. The only thing you can assume is there was a fallout with the coaching staff. However, you can put 2 and 2 together. He wasn't listed as a starting quarterback, so he didn't get his way, and he up and left. Kind of the same thing we're seeing with Arizona Cardinals. He's not getting his way, and he's throwing a hissy fit. I hate to label it as that, but it is what it is. At Texas A&M too, many people stated that he struggled to make friends not only on campus, but within the team and the coaching staff. It comes to a certain point in time where I feel like most of this stuff isn't rumors, it's just how he is. He had troubles at A&M when things weren't going his way. Everything at Oklahoma was fine because he was getting his way, but in the NFL at the Arizona Cardinals, things aren't going his way, and he's having more trouble. One main reason he's been able to get away with this character or how he acts is because he's a great football player and he's been winning his entire life. I remember earlier in the year, somebody said this about Aaron Rodgers on ESPN, and it resonated with me. This is when everybody was questioning if Rodgers even liked football anymore, and somebody said, if you win, it takes care of everything. That was one of the realest things I ever heard. If you have a lot of problems going on within the team, if you win games, it solves it. On the flip side, whenever you start to lose games and play bad, that's when everything gets brought up to light, and that's what we're seeing. But then you have this argument this person tweeted out. Kyler Murray won at every level before joining the Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are the third worst franchise in NFL history, you tell me. So basically what that person is saying, and a lot of people agree with it, is that Kyler Murray was one of the greatest high school quarterbacks of all time, and I believe he had a high school record of 42-0, and in college he also had a great record and he was fabulous. So that person is trying to say, well, if he was great in high school and great in college, that means the problem in the NFL is that it's the team, not Kyler. And I would have to disagree with that because you are being so naive. You have to think about it. Every football player in the NFL dominated in high school, and more than likely all the starting quarterbacks in the NFL had great college careers. So that argument is just so one-sided and complete BS, and I would just have to throw that away. I do like Kyler. If anyone's going to have his back, it's going to be me, and I'm going to try to give him the benefit of the doubt. I do got to be honest, a lot of the things I'm seeing are alarming, and they all connect. This isn't the first time we saw him not get his way, and he's been unhappy. It's happened all throughout his career. It happened at Texas A&M, it happened at Oklahoma when they lost games, and it's also happening now. It happened at Texas A&M, it happened at Oklahoma when they lost games, and now it's happening with the Cardinals. It's not a coincidence. That's his character, and that's how he acts. In high school and college, you can get away with not really wanting to be that leader and kind of being self-centered, but in the NFL, you just simply can't. You got to be a vocal leader on and off the field, and the teammates have to respect you. And I don't think a lot of these Cardinals teammates really look up to him or respect him. Just because somebody's a good football player and he's good, it doesn't mean you have to think they're a good leader too. When I think of Kyler, I don't just think of a talented football player. I think as a talented athlete. He could have went to the major leagues if he wanted to, but he does lack leadership. And if you want to play in the NFL, well, not really play, but if you want to succeed in the NFL, leadership's almost 50% of it. You got to be a leader on and off the field, and those leadership skills that he doesn't have, they're showing. It doesn't mean his career's over or it's ruined. He's a young man, and he's working on all of that. It takes time, and any person would tell you that. Tom Brady, when he was 24, he wasn't the same leader he is today. You got to sit back and realize that Kyler Murray is younger than Joe Burrow. A lot of people don't know that. We put these heavy expectations on him because we know he's a good football player and he could be great one day. He's definitely got to work on it, and he's got room to improve. Let me know your thoughts down below. But with that all being said, it's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you're new to the channel, what are you doing? Join the family. Hit that subscribe button and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.